Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The campaign is entitled At Your Door. It was written by Ellen Eisenwell, Mark Morrison, Barbara Manoui, Chris Adams, Scott B. Aniolowski, and Herbert Hike. I'm your game master, and this is episode 11. Our recap will be given by Keith as his character, Dr. Heather Mills. So without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Keith?
All right. Memo for record for Mr. J-Tick at Full Wilderness. Another day of more questions than answers, but soon we plan to change tactics and possibly bend some rules. After talking to the police officers, we discovered that Dr. Gall has been sent to the psych ward, and he's under the care of Dr. Sweet. No planned release for him as he is displaying violent tendencies. No surprise. As we are going to soon be touring Don Biozyne, we went back and reviewed the journals to see if there might be any rogue agents that we could talk to. A tech named Danny Price was friends with Dr. Tate and helped him get into Warehouse 2. Alas, he is just another missing person on our long list. He moved away last week, and his former roommate has no way to get a hold of him. I wish that I could believe that this is what happened to him, but as our recent luck has proven, it doesn't seem like this is likely. Before we called it the night, we contacted a Dr. Vogel and planned to send him the Old English papers for him to evaluate when and where this style came from. On the way to dinner, we made it a point to look for the homeless people. There are still some on the street, but there has been a noticeable decline in the city. How I hope it is from the mayor's job program. The next morning dawned bright and early. We stopped by Full Wilderness, but alas, you were already at a meeting, and so was Mr. Slate out of town. We headed over to Don Biozyne, which is guarded by its own security force carrying batons and is surrounded by barbed wire. We were met by a friendly guide by the name of Lee Gary. He took us for a long tour of the facility. They've been genetically modifying plants, and they've created an interesting chocolate-scented pansy. And they're also working on a heartier wheat for the farmers. Near the end of the tour, we went to meet the president, Jim Corazzini. He was quite proud of the joint development the company is doing with the pharmaceuticals. Then we headed over to the southern part of the compound. They wouldn't let us into Papa 7. It was marked with many biohazard signs, and this is, if you don't remember, is where Dr. Tate was working. We went in and met Dr. Finley, who denied all knowledge of what happened to Jenny and Tate. Dr. Flores leaned quite hard on Dr. Finley for the info, and we found that they are working on a cure for some human anomalies and are close to a breakthrough. However, he would not let it tell us what they were. After that awkward encounter, we headed out for a final tour of the yard. They wouldn't let us get into Warehouse 2, claiming that it was for hazardous waste. But this was the warehouse that Dr. Tate entered and was quite shocked at what he found in it. The tour ended pleasantly enough, but now we are thinking about doing something that could use your assistance with. Please have some bail money ready. There.
All right. So what are your plans? What's next?
Well, I think that we should go try to see if we could talk to Gall, perhaps, as we wait for it to get dark before we make our move on Don Biozyne.
Now, behind Don Biozyne, it was forested area. Was it a hill? Like if we went up the hill, we could see over the wall easily?
No, it's fairly flat.
Okay.
And for, like I say, about 200 acres, there's nothing but grass.
Okay. All right.
And then there's trees after that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that won't work then. Good.
Yeah, does anybody here have sufficient, an appropriate degree in psychology to make it a well-supported claim to see Gaul?
No, I do not.
I'm kind of, I've studied some pharmacology, but actually, I wonder. Oh no, I misread that. Yeah,
Well, I have a degree in parasitology, and gall's a
human parasite.
That could be the approach.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we could be investigating something that was possibly contagious. It's kind of stirring up a hornet's nest, and Gaul's not exactly forthcoming.
And I have ecology, taxonomy, pharmacology, and medicine, but I don't see it just waltzing in the door,
Sure.
Do you think if the boss would call over there and say we need to speak to him about something he was working on, maybe that's a threat for, the county or the city or something?
That might be a good way to go. And as a funder of Don Biozyme, Full Wilderness has kind of been an employee of Gaul. And we certainly want to talk to him about its experiments and their ecological implications. But yeah, we might need backers from higher up for that.
And if we just show up and try and get in and fail, it might hinder us with the credentials,
Yeah. Also, I don't think we want to be on the authorities' radar this evening, given what might happen tonight.
We should all set up some type of alibi also. Besides us saying we were all together.
Couldn't think of one.
Oh, we could
use our assistants. We have 5 other
Corrupt their minds.
We'll have our assistants dress up in us masks. Go to a dark bar and be very loud and then leave. Yeah, I don't know. I've never concocted an alibi. I don't think I know how to do it.
Nor have I.
I'm generally more about getting in and out before anybody finds out.
Yeah.
What time of day is it, roughly, Tom?
Let's see. You finished your thing. Was it 10 o'clock? It's probably about a little past noon, I'd say.
Yeah,
You didn't do anything after the tour, right?
No, not yet.
No, just dangerous conversation in the parking lot before we departed.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to want to at least go by the hardware store to get the tools we'll need.
Yeah, and in terms of thinking about things like alibis, maybe not buying 2 ladders, 2 fire blankets, 2 pairs of wire snips in one trip. We should maybe drive around a little bit and make some preparations with a degree of subtlety and not all mixing together.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
And in cash.
Yes.
And then maybe like a mom and pop store too that's not corporate with cameras all over. And
yeah, so let's get lunch and make up a shopping list for our. We're all agreed on this. We're gonna get into Warehouse 2 tonight.
Right. They're damaging the earth.
Unless something else happens. Okay. What do you feel like for lunch? Get someplace loud, or we can huddle.
yeah.
Yeah. Go to like a Louisiana style kitchen. They usually got a jazz band playing loudly.
Well,
That sounds good.
let's say you go down into downtown. You find a parking structure and park and walk around a bit. There's lots of food places. You go by some Italian places and some Indian places and food like that. And you notice a rather large on the corner, there's an Asian place that's not open yet, but it's going to be opening soon. You find I don't know, usual American food, Denny's and stuff like that. In any case, you find a place that you want to eat, and were you going to have a conversation, or because what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you at least how you're going to prep for getting in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll go to one of those.
Maybe there's some 50s theme place that's playing obnoxiously loud music from a fake jukebox.
Yeah, like Red Robins or Johnny Rockets or.
All right, so we need. I've already said I think we should buy things in small groups or as individuals and cash different places. What do we think we need? We need a couple of tall ladders.
Yeah, a ladder. The fence was 12 foot, so need a ladder in that case. Like I said, probably a couple, because last thing we want to do is get there on the other side and we can't get back out.
Right.
Gloves.
Or latex.
Yeah.
Work gloves too.
We need some equipment to take evidence of whatever we find in there, like cameras.
I'm skilled in photography, so I'll bring my camera.
We need to be able to get into the door too.
Yeah, I was wondering, that's why I was wanting to see from the back if we could see there was a door on the back, so it'd be a little easier. Or maybe there's windows in the back. I think they were up 20 foot.
They were high, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a big ladder, 20-foot ladders.
Maybe heavy blanket on a small sledgehammer, or like a small, heavy 5-pound hammer or something.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we can bring a small rock hammer, a crowbar, of course, flashlights. My only concern is whether or not the lock might have an alarm on it.
I'm sure.
I think a door of that size, we can pop it off with a sharp blow or a crowbar. But if it sets off an alarm, we're gonna have no time. We should have asked that nice HR girl if security was 24 hours. She'd have told us.
Let's assume that they are, and then let's assume that there will be alarms. I wonder what the response time would be. Is there a way to cut power?
I
don't remember seeing generators.
Yeah.
They would be on the city grid.
Yeah.
Right. They might have a backup generator too, though, assuming, for example, that they do any tissue sampling using radioactive materials. They have to have those in a special fridge that has to have dedicated power, because if that city power goes out, that could become radioactive quickly.
Okay.
I actually had a friend who worked in a lab, and there were people doing work on the sidewalk with a jackhammer, and they cut off power to the building. And he had about 40 minutes to find other power source before all the samples started to get warm and give everyone cancer. I wonder, since there's that third guard booth that is in sight of the door to Warehouse 2, if we're not better off trying to go through the back wall of Warehouse 2 rather than through that door. There's probably a light over the door, and we'd just be in plain sight.
Right.
So if we're assuming like a thin metal over cinder block, it's not small.
Yeah, but it won't be quiet either.
Do an idea roll.
Yeah. Anyone good with chloroform?
37.
47 for 70 is normal.
I got a hard.
I got a normal success.
Normal.
Well, you might get a better idea once you're peeking over the wall, because you might see the patrol, and it's a fairly large campus. there might be a good 20 or 30 minutes when nobody's looking towards that door.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're around the other side of the building.
Yeah.
But you do get the impression that they've got fairly decent security. You saw at least 3 security people when you were there during the middle of the day.
Right, plus those auto lock doors and things. Yeah, I mean, there's money involved.
We do have the tranquilizer gun rifle. I wouldn't want to shoot a person with it unless absolutely, utterly necessary. I could probably set it for an average primate, and it would probably do the same, but I wouldn't want to do any permanent damage to a human.
Right now, there's one thing that we might want to consider, and that would be to try to get that same effect that happened to Dr. Flores the other day
Oh,
to
yeah.
happen again.
Yeah, that's true. I could have taken out a couple security guards, I think, if they didn't have, good guns.
Yeah, they said they just carried clubs. So
Yeah, they didn't have guns, correct?
Not that we saw.
Not
They
that
were
you
not
saw.
visible.
There might be a break glass in case of emergency in one of the sheds, but
Yeah, I mean, they could be in a case in the guardhouse. We don't know, but they don't carry them. They're not, they're not holstered during the day, at least.
yeah.
And I'm, as much as I don't want to get involved in anything violent or go to jail for any reasonable length of time, we are dealing with a situation that's critical. It's easy
Yeah.
to forget
Yeah,
in this
people
Johnny
are-
Rockets that people are in substantial danger
Yeah,
because
people
of what this company's been up to.
Yeah. I think we ought to get some walkie-talkies too. That way, if we get
Yeah.
separated, we maybe have a lookout. That way, if the guard's on a regular interval, someone they can see over and go, "Hey, he's coming!" Duck into the shadows.
There's a non-trivial chance I could pick the lock too. I have a little experience with that, but it depends on how good the lock is.
all right.
You are forgetting also that that warehouse is not the P7 lab. The
Right.
P7 lab is in the building. You did notice, however, that there was a door coming from the P7 lab
Behind,
back
right?
up the building.
Yeah.
Here.
Was it from the P7 lab to the iceberg production?
The P7 lab is down at the very bottom.
Right.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Okay. What was the doors on the main building besides the front ones? They
Just the ones that I'm showing. Yeah.
yeah, but were they metal, glass, reinforced
Oh,
glass?
the one at reception was a big glass.
What about that back door?
The back doors just look like the same as the warehouse. They're just like metal doors.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And of course, the main building it's all mirrored. It's all glass and chrome.
Right. Yeah.
So we really have 2 targets
Mm-hmm.
because I'm curious about what's in warehouse 2. But right, the baddies are probably in the P7 lab.
Oh, yeah, we got to take that into consideration, too. If we go in there, we might be face-to-face with another hungry tree stump or whatever you want to call it.
We might learn how they're containable too. I mean, I
That's
don't
true.
unless our friend Dr. Finley has managed to domesticate them. I imagine they're contained rather carefully.
Yeah. I agree. Okay. All right. So you said you could possibly pick the lock because I've got no shot.
I've successfully picked locks in less than secure places.
Okay.
In out of game terms, I've got a 21.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
All right.
so we're gonna, I guess. All right, is the shopping list done? What are we forgetting? Work gloves.
Well,
Blankets, gloves, ladders, sledgehammer,
Yeah.
rock hammer.
and we're going into P7, maybe something to put over a face. I would say
Masks.
pantyhose or something.
All right. Yeah, I wonder if this time of year it's so hot, we probably can't get like a ski mask without drawing undue attention.
But there's costume shops around.
Right. And a bandana is actually not bad.
Yeah.
And everybody's got appropriate clothing for storming the castle.
I'll just wear that crap I wore to that metal bar. You know,
Yeah.
And I think we want more like all black
Yeah.
body covering kind of
Yeah.
array. Unless you want to go and distract the guards.
Oh yeah. So you're saying typical heavy metal outfit then, just all black. So yeah.
Dr. Flores, do you have actual lockpicks with you, or
I did not fly with a lockpick set, no.
A pawn shop.
You try, yeah, I mean, or gun shops sometimes sell marginally illegal things like handcuffs and lockpick sets.
It's a fairly large city, so you might be able to find something like that. I'd give you a luck roll with a bonus.
Yeah, that'd certainly be worth trying.
And also, when you're buying some of your materials, I mean, Lowe's and Home Depot.
Did they exist?
Buying a ladder is not at all unusual at all.
Yeah. What?
Let's get some bolt cutters just in case.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, and we're gonna need some. We're gonna need some black sacks to divide this kit up in. I mean, we're looking at we're gonna be planning this for the next couple of hours.
Okay.
You know, might as well all get backpacks. That way we could just keep everything in the backpacks.
Yeah.
Did were small headlamps current in 1981?
91.
Probably.
Because that's, some of those, if you can get those with the red option, they're a lot harder to spot. They're a lot easier to be stealthy with.
They maintain your dark vision too. So
Right.
All right.
So
at this
planning,
point,
shopping.
You've said the things that I think that I wanted to hear, so we can assume that you've gotten anything that you need. Just, don't pull tasers out of your...
Luckily, I brought this dynamite.
We have the bear spray that we all bought still.
Yep, and I got my mace.
Pepper spray. Yeah.
Might want some form of contingency plan.
I'm sorry, what was that?
We might want some form of contingency plan.
Yeah. Well, I got the tranquilizer gun. Take a shot.
Possibly something to make exfiltrating the compound more easier than climbing ladders.
Well, if I remember, Dr. Lees, you were the one that said that you had more. I have no expertise in chemicals or creating booms. Mm-hmm.
I can look into finding something that can get us through the wall rapidly.
Right.
Well, Dr. Mills did bring something up in her intro that you do have Jadic telling you directly. I mean, you wouldn't want to use that in court, but he did say that Full Wilderness is a very powerful organization. They've got a lot of people in government, so if you do get in trouble, he can probably get you out of it.
Yeah,
without too much difficulty.
The normal entry that we drove in today, is that a pole slide gate? Is it a double door gate?
It's a full slide chain link going across.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, so bolt cutters again might be useful in that regard.
Now, we all took a photocopy of that spell, correct?
Yes, we all have one.
I just keep it in your wallet or someplace handy in case. We all know it works. So
right, but I'm not sure we want to actually have that many copies with us in case things do go wrong. I would hate to have Dom Biozyme get their hands on.
Yeah, but Well, we could all carry a lighter too, and if we get caught, just burn it.
I got a lighter.
Yeah, it's good to have a lighter in general kit.
It's my cigarette.
And I don't think anybody if we tear off the top that says endurance spell or endurance chant, I think anybody's going to look at that and say, aha, I have found a spell that inexplicably makes me wildly powerful. Now, of course, we also don't know if it's going to work on me a second time or on any of you or what the hell it is. So it's hardly insurance policy.
Right.
But I don't think having a copy is a real danger. I think using it might be a real danger.
Yeah, just saying, like if we're cornered or you get one person get there alone, and
no,
I
could have taken 2 cards with clubs. I think I could have bounced them off each other.
All right.
All right.
So planning, shopping.
Yep.
Should I do a luck roll for the lockpick set?
Sure. You can do it with a bonus.
It's the montage scene.
Musical montage.
57.
The Ocean's 11 music playing in the background.
I made it on the first with 55, which is just under my luck.
All right, you do find one in a pawn shop. Lockpick. This is a super professional lockpick. It's only been used a few times.
Hey, brass, nice.
What time are you planning on your little adventure?
We want to go early morning when we think the guards are getting a little tired, a little bored. I mean, they're people too. They're going to start slacking, you know. Did we see what hours did Don Biozine have business hours posted when we went in?
Yeah, Don Biozine is officially open from like 9 to 5.
Okay.
However, you're pretty sure that some of the scientists show up around after 6.
Okay. So yeah.
And probably stay until 9 or 10. Some of them.
Right, and it's not really a public people going and coming place. It's a matter of when they change the guards, and so we don't get fresh guards who just had their 4 a.m. coffee.
Right. Yeah.
I'll even give you this, that at some point in the last few days, since you're going back and forth to Zimvatech, you've driven by it after working at night and seen maybe one or 2 cars there, which would probably be the guards.
Right. Yeah.
Now, this grassland behind it, can we bring the vehicle behind and unload the equipment?
There's no road.
Right, but we got SUVs.
You'd be actually on either side of them. There's going to be other companies.
Okay.
But that also would mean that some of them you might be able to park your car in that parking lot over there and sneak around behind.
Okay.
We can drive around a few times and make notes of what businesses are where and where there's parking space. I mean, we're assuming that the wall is going to keep us out of the eyes of the guards until we're at the top. And in terms of anybody else passing, you know, we're counting on the fact that this is an industrial park and not a cool place where people hang out at night.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
it is kind of out in the boonies.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so I think maybe 2 was good.
Yeah.
A guard that came on at night is going to be nearing the end of his shift and kind of tired and bored.
All right. That sounds like a good plan. That gives us 4 hours if we need to for the scientists to start showing up, because they said sometime after 6 gives us a little slop. Yeah. And we better not be in there for 4 hours anyway. So, yep.
And I think it seems like we have 2 ladders set up the rope. I think only 4 of us should go inside. And somebody should be on the walkie-talkie watching And then 2 of us will hit the warehouse and 2 of us the lab, at least to start with. We might only be in, if assuming we get in both.
Okay. I'd hate to miss it, but I could even go up to the gate and pretend I'm lost to talk to the guard.
Yeah. That could happen.
Yeah. That's an
I would be careful about that. We all walked in there. They might have dispersed photos or.
Yeah, they almost certainly have footage of us today.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We're definitely on the blacklist. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Let's do it.
2 a.m.
Okay.
All right. So if your plan is what I think, you're going to, let's say, drive into the parking lot at the place next door,
Mm-hmm.
like McDonald's headquarters. There's nobody there. And around to the back lot, which is completely empty. And you can see that there's probably, let's say there's a chain link fence between you and a little strip of land between that parking lot and the Don Biozyme wall.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether you climb over it. It's only an 8-foot chain link fence, just a standard chain link. And then you work your way around to behind Don Biozyme. So you can see the warehouse looms up over the thing. And you can see that it has the same windows that are actually about 30 feet up.
Okay.
They're just little things, just to let some ambient light in.
Yep. Okay.
All right, so you're on the far, you're in the field behind Don Biozyme.
All right. Well, let's lean a ladder against that wall, climb up there, and see if we can kind of watch a little bit, see if we can see the guard and his rotation. I mean, this is a 12-foot wall. I doubt he's looking up at the barbed wire.
Okay. Who's climbing up the ladder?
Well, let's do 2 on this side to begin with, just because 4 eyes are better than 2.
Yeah.
Who's feeling tactical? Who's got good eyesight?
I've done things like this before in my past. I think I'll go up.
I'm good at climbing. I'm okay at spot hidden.
Okay.
Good. Take ladder 2.
So is Margaret's going to go up there? All right. Margaret, you get up to the top and you peek over and you realize that you're peeking kind of through ivy on the top of the wall. And there's a couple of strands of wire, barbed wire. And as you're looking out on the campus pretty much looks deserted. You don't see any activity. You can see that there's a light on at the guardhouse way over there. And you can see there's, lights on the buildings. There's no lights on inside of Don Biozyme. And at the moment, you don't see any guards at all.
And I don't see any flashlights bobbing around in the darkness.
No,
like
they
that.
could be on the other side of the campus. At the
All right.
moment.
Well, I don't see anybody.
Should we wait for them to make a rotation? That way we know.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, we'll
watch for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
You watch for maybe 10 minutes, and you finally start to see some flashlights. There's a guard. He's walking on the far end of the campus towards the wall where you guys are, although he's way at the other end of the wall. And it looks like he's got a guard dog.
Nice.
But he doesn't walk along this wall. He just walks out there, shines his light around, and then walks back. There's nothing, along behind the warehouses except the wall and maybe a 15-foot strip of land. So he shines his light back there, but there's nothing there, so he just goes back towards the front. And you figure, since you didn't see him before, it's probably going to take him half an hour, 45 minutes to walk all the way around. Maybe he'll come up this side of the wall, but he doesn't seem to be very motivated.
Mm-hmm. All right, perfect. So we'll throw the heavy blanket across the barbed wire and start pass the other ladder up so we can get down the other side.
Yep. Let's do it.
I would like you to do a dexterity roll to see if you make noise with that ladder.
Is the ladder aluminum or wood?
Probably aluminum.
Did they had fiberglass yet in 91? Fiberglass would be good for light and quiet.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got 45 for 50, so clumsy me is all right.
And I failed. I got
Oh,
72. So
Push
so
it.
we'll say that Dr. Margaret makes a little bit of noise with the ladder, but there's no reaction. You don't see anybody.
nobody's running over.
Nobody's coming running over or anything like
All right.
I assume it's a still night.
that. Yes.
We know we're getting close to the new moon. There's ambient light from pollution, and it's probably hot still, even at 2 o'clock in the morning.
There's ambient light coming from over the building because San Damiano proper is in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on the side, you're facing towards main San Damiano, so you can see sort of dome of light there. But right where you are, you're kind of up in the country, up in the hills a little bit, so it's a nice dark night. There's a crescent moon.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna climb my way down to the other side.
Okay,
Right.
who's staying behind? Who's on watch? I mean, I assume I'm going just for the lockpick.
Yeah, you got to go.
Yeah.
Dr. Leeds, you're the chemical expert, so the contingency plan, right? Cool.
I'll just leave my backpack by the wall.
Okay. All
There it
right.
is.
All right. So you're going in?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I will keep watch there unless you want to stay behind Dr. Carlisle.
It's up to you. I have the tranq rifle.
So taking a shot from the wall could be actually pretty helpful, right?
I mean, I could do that. Then I could stay on the wall with the tranq rifle.
All right. Let's do
I'll
it.
do that. Yeah.
I like it.
So Dr. Carlisle and Dr. Mills are going to stay.
Now I'm going to go
So
on.
You're going to
I'm
go.
yeah.
So everybody's going to go. Dr. Carlisle's going to stay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and he's sitting up on top of the wall with his train.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, perched on the ladder, I think, probably.
Yeah.
Watching with the walkie-talkie on its, alert mode, little squawk mode.
Right. Okay. All right.
All right. So you come down around the building and make your way towards the entrance. Now there is a single light on near the entrance, but you don't see any flashlights. You don't see any movement anywhere.
Good. All right, so my locksmith skill is 21. Do I get a bonus for the lockpick set?
Sure.
All right, the first roll was not successful. And the second was a double 04.
Excellent.
Warehouse 2 is open. So I
a
think
lot.
two of you should go in, and I'm going to go and get, try P7.
All right. All right. Well, I want to go in. I've been fascinated with this place since
All
we
right.
got here.
So I guess Heather and I will just have a girls' night out, and we'll go
That's
into
right.
warehouse 2.
So
Wonderful.
Heather and Margaret go into the warehouse. Desmond and Jonathan,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to go towards P7.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Why don't you roll for P7, see if you can break into that lab.
56 is not successful.
Is that
Nor 46. Nope.
Yeah.
Not the first try. It's probably a better lock, since it's the main building and not a warehouse. That's a bit much for me to spend luck on, but I think it might be worth. I mean,
I rolled a 13. I can spend some luck to make that a success.
Oh, great.
Brian, your sound is a little off.
Is it?
Yeah.
It was just then, but you said you rolled a 13
Yes.
and could spend some luck.
All right. Let's see. So we'll say that that Dr. Liege takes the lockpick out of your hands and let me try that. And he somehow masterfully pops the lock on
I
piece.
sneak in the middle of it, and somehow that pops up.
37. All right, I want to do P7 first. So, Dr. Desmond and Dr. Jonathan, you slip through the door, and it looks like you are stepping into a small break room that you can see a door that leads right into P7. And there's this is not supposed to make noise. Over there. All right. So you step into P7, and it looks pretty much like a lab. The equipment is all cutting edge. It's all what you'd expect to see. There are refrigerators. There are biohazard signs all over. There are various equipment for testing things. There are storage, petri dishes, everything that you'd expect to see. You'll have microscopes and so forth. And you can also see that there's a door into Finley's office at the far end.
So no obvious critters.
No critters.
And it's open plan, more or less. Like there's the door to Finley's office. There's the door we tried to peer through.
That's
and
correct.
we're in it. Okay.
And you also notice that there is a stairwell over to one side where the stairs go down. Maybe I don't know how many. 10 feet, 15 feet. And they're going into a door, and the door is facing the same direction as if it would be going towards warehouse 2.
All right. Dr. Liege, there's a little ambient light in here through the glass walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They always leave a couple of lights on.
Just night work lights. So I'm going to, look at a couple of fridges and see if anything stands out. I assume nothing does.
Well, you notice that they've been doing various kinds of cultures on various bacteria and stuff like that. But you also find a couple of little bottles that are marked. They're marked Serum XD 154 0001.
Dr. Liege, do you think it's better to leave no indication that we were here, if that's possible, or take one of these to examine?
What if we could leave the bottle, but what if we just take a little bit off the top, enough to do some testing?
Sure, we could even add a little water so that it looks the same if it's clear or fluid.
It's not. It's kind of a pinkish colored milky substance.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend adding anything. We don't know what it is. We don't know how it will react.
So I'll just take a dropper that goes into a screw test tube sort of thing and take a millimeter or two off the top.
Okay.
I think we need to look in Finley's office and also need to look downstairs. Finley's office first? Sorry?
Be sure to label that sample. And are there any other oddly labeled test tubes?
No, that seems to be the most predominant one.
Okay.
All right, so you get over to Finley's office, and the door is unlocked going in.
Surprising.
Okay, so we're looking for a safe first.
You do find a safe. It's behind his desk on the floor, but it is a numerical lock.
All right. And he's got filing cabinets, I assume,
He does have filing cabinets, and they are locked.
and desk drawers,
Desk drawers are also locked.
computer
Oh.
on desk.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I'm going to look at the safe. You said that there was a numerical pad.
Right, like a telephone pad.
If I look closely at the numbers, can I see if any of them are particularly smudged or if the numbers are worn off?
Doesn't look like it. Looks like it's in fairly good condition.
Computer on top of desk.
There is a computer on top of the desk.
All right, let's turn that baby on.
Check and see if the password's electrophoresis.
Okay, computer comes on, and almost immediately there is a red Don Biozyme logo, and it says enter password or press escape. Security notified in 30 seconds.
Dr. Leach, does that mean it's going to alert security if I press escape or if I don't press escape?
I don't know.
Escape.
All right. It goes back to nothing.
Do we have the password that Gall was using for his secret lab?
Yeah.
Is that worth a try? Maybe we do that last, because if it sets off an alarm, we won't do anything else. Okay, desk drawers are locked, file cabinets locked, paper, journal, notebook.
Oh, there are a couple of letters on the desk.
I'll peruse those if I may.
Most of them are nothing important, inventory bills, things like that. But you do find this.
Sorry, letterhead, Rothmers Holm Limited, Pharmaceuticals for a Better Tomorrow. July 16th, 1991. My dear Dr. Finley, the samples you sent us proved to be quite interesting. There are a number of complex compounds in serum XD1540001 that are very similar to chlorpromazine, and their ability to curtail psychotic behavior is worth exploring. It is our hope that these can be developed into the next level of antipsychotics. There is also a very interesting molecule that shows promise as a powerful monoamine oxidase inhibitor. If this is the case, after further testing, we may be able to develop an antidepressant that will relieve millions of this psychological ailment. There are many other possibilities for this serum, and we will continue to explore. I think that financially you have discovered a gold mine. In our last communique, you were a bit unclear as to the origins of the serum. You said that it was developed in your lab from the exudate of a rare caprini. I would like to know more if possible. Currently, I have our research and development team under our director, Andreas Glansandi, working on it. We would appreciate some larger samples if possible. Yours truly, Dr. Bryce Codgill, Maltese Street, Toronto, numbers. Well, now we know what our Pepto-Bismol is, or part of what it is. And we know that a caprini, is that a member of the goat family? Or is just similar?
Could be.
You probably have biology. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
We haven't seen any experimental goats yet.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've looked at the names of anything larger than an amoeba, so...
All right, do you want to try the door downstairs?
Yeah, let's do that. And have 30 seconds passed.
Yes.
Okay, and we're not hearing jackboots in the hall?
Nope.
That's
That is good.
All right. When you come down here, the door opens to a corridor. Now, there are a lot of biohazard signs here, and they're showing like the worst level or the highest level. But when you open the door, there doesn't seem to be any kind of containment or special uniform or anything going this way. It almost looks like it's a ruse.
And there are work lights on along the hall?
There are.
And there are drains in the floor?
There are. And it looks like it's just a straight corridor that your guess is it must come up somewhere in the warehouse.
But we can't see the door at the other side?
Well, maybe vaguely, but it's just straight way down there. There's stairs going up.
Is it concrete or tile?
It's concrete.
Dr. Leach, forward or back? We can still, I guess, let's see if this actually goes to warehouse 2.
Yeah,
and then we can consider going back to Finley's.
If
All
it
right.
goes to warehouse 2, then we might consider relocking the exterior door just to cover our tracks.
So as you're going down that corridor, we'll go back to the other guys. All right. So Dr. Carlisle, you're up on the wall watching. You're not going to see much.
But
You
should
occasionally
pull the
maybe
ladder
see that
back up in
flashlight
case
guy,
the
but-
guard walks back.
You occasionally see the flashlight guy, but he goes back. He seems to be on a kind of a routine. It's not as secure as it should be. All right, the rest of you open up the door, and you go through. Hold on just a second. I have lost my page. The first room that you come into seems to be waste storage. There are bags of, they're black plastic bags. They're taped up, they're double twisted and pulled over. They have biohazard signs on them. And there are probably bottles and things like that in there. But you can see that you are in a room that opens, it doesn't open. There's another door at the other end, but there are some glass panels looking out into the larger part of the warehouse. And there are some work lights on, but from where you're looking, it looks like it's empty. Also, there is the most god-awful smell in here. And even though you've worked in this sort of stuff before, there are some smells in here that you don't have any idea what they are.
I think we might have chose the wrong way to go, Heather.
Yeah.
All right, you don't see anything down there?
No, it looks empty.
Well, there does seem to be something out in the warehouse, but from where you're standing, you can't see.
Okay.
You think that might be one of our friends?
Good. We'll make it down there. I'm going to just reach down one of these black bags. I'm not going to open it, but it's kind of like touch it. So is it feel like bottles inside or?
Yeah, and maybe paper products and stuff like that might have contaminated stuff on them.
Okay, yeah.
And they're pretty thick plastic bags. They're not like household trash bags. They're biohazard bags.
Right. Okay. All right. And so, can we tell where the smell's coming from?
It's everywhere.
Just everywhere. It just permeates everything.
And you can also hear that there is either an air conditioning or or air circulation unit that probably has scrubbers, and still it smells bad.
Ugh, nice. All right.
All right, let's keep going.
Yeah, no
Nothing
kidding.
in here. But they're definitely trying to keep up the appearance that this place is what they say it is.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm gonna pull my.
So you move forward through the bio waste, and there is kind of a pathway that you can work your way through. And you get over next to the window, and you're next to the door looking out into the room. And it seems to be a very large, empty warehouse. But in the center of it, there is a chain link fence about 8 feet high in a circle. And inside the circle, there is what looks like a blue tarp in the form of a circle.
Okay. All right. Well,
That's odd.
yeah. Oh. I see. I got it now. Very large too.
Does there appear to be anything under the tarp?
You can't tell from here.
All right. Well, I will slowly approach the chain link fence.
Oh, so you're going to go through the door. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going.
Well, I'm going to open it and see if anything reacts before I step in. Of course.
It seems to be an empty room. You can see that there are fluorescent lights that are hung from the ceiling way up high. You can see that there's scaffolding on the right-hand side, but where this circle is in the middle, there's nothing at all but this chain link fence. As you approach the chain link fence, you can see that there are metal panels in the floor inside the chain link fence. You count 7 of them around in a circle. You can also see that behind you, there is another room with a door that also has windows. And you can see that there are heavy, what do I want to say? There are heavy metal shutters way up above on those little windows that can be closed if necessary.
Okay.
And is there anything that under the tarp?
How are you going to get to it? You're going to climb the fence. There is a gate with
Right.
A chain and a regular standard lock.
But there's no like barbed wire or anything.
No,
on
there's
top
no
of
barbed wire.
the top of the fence. Okay. I'm going to
And
come up.
you do have bolt cutters, by the way.
Yep. I'm going to come up. I'm going to put my camera in there. I'm going to take a couple pictures of the
Okay.
tarp.
It looks like a swimming pool tarp.
Okay. And how far away from the fence is the tarp? Like, a foot?
About 15 feet.
Oh, about 15 feet. Okay, so pretty good. Okay.
All right.
Well, fuck. We came here. Let's.
Yep. Well, let's do it.
All right.
All right. So are you going to climb over, or are you going to go through the?
I'm gonna climb over.
Okay.
I think we should climb, because if I hop back on that fence and go, if we cut a hole and something's there, we're pooped.
Well,
Okay.
if we cut the lock, but now that weakens the gates. So
Yeah. All right.
All right. So you go over the wall, and you can see that these metal panels, that they're obviously retractable. You can also see that this thing is very much like a pool cover in that it can be retracted into the thing. When you get to the edge of it and you sort of pull it back or you look, there is a 15-foot deep pit.
Huh.
And the pit goes down 15 feet. There is a metal ladder going down. There is a large, flat, black stone in the bottom of the pit, irregularly shaped.
Huh. Well, I will put my camera down there, take a picture, and then
What the
I'm going down. I'm going down. Is the smell stronger here?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh,
It's definitely from this area.
okay.
Heather, a stone? That's not quite what I was expecting to find.
Yeah, me neither. All right.
All right, so you slip under the cover,
Yep.
and you're working your way down. You realize, too, that there are 4 large, about 2 feet across, circles on the walls, like at the north, south, east, and west, that also look like they're retractable, that they can be opened up, but not from this side.
Okay.
And as you approach the bottom of the ladder, 1 or 2 of the rungs on the ladder have been bent. And these are big, heavy metal bars that are into the wall, the concrete of the wall. It's all concrete.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so you get to the bottom, and in the center is this very strange, irregularly shaped stone. It's completely flat on the top, and it seems to have been buried in the cement, so that only maybe an inch is sticking up above the cement.
Okay.
What do you do?
Touch it.
What do you think that they use this for?
Oh, who knows? Maybe. I got no
Wild
idea.
security.
Yeah.
It's smooth, like obsidian.
Yeah. Okay. We get out like key, something metal I have, and try and scratch it, scrape it.
It's very hard. It doesn't seem to scratch.
No.
Do a spot hidden though for me.
Okay. Yeah. Just a regular.
You notice that there is some dried residue around the edges where the concrete and the stone meet.
Okay.
It's a dark brownish powder.
Well, I'll go over to that. See if I.
You want to get a sample of that?
It's there's very little. It stains the concrete in places.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. What I'd do for some luminol. Yeah. I'll try and collect a little bit of that powder.
All right.
Put in like a little baggie or something.
Okay.
Okay.
All
I'll
right,
walk on around the stone.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
want to find the inner facilities that can look into here. Maybe it'll give us more insight into what the heck's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna walk across the stone.
Okay.
Okay.
It just seems to be a stone.
All right. Okay.
It's cold, but it's not magically cold. It's just cold because it's cold.
Yeah.
To stone. All right. About the same time, Dr. Flores and Dr. Liege, you have reached the opposite door and opened it up. And it opens up into another lab. Now, this place is crammed with all kinds of equipment. There's monitoring equipment. It looks like there are some large, almost looks like magnetic coils. There is what looks like a gigantic vacuum machine. And there is some sort of apparatus designed for, it looks like filling bottles. There are computer banks all against the wall where there is a large glass window. And if you're looking at the glass itself, it looks like it's 2 inches thick. And out of that, you are looking into the warehouse, and you can see the chain link fence, and you can see Dr. Dr. Margaret out there leaning over, looking down at this big blue circle and talking presumably to Dr. Mills. And there's a door leading out, of course. There is also, on the far end, there are 7 circles with plexiglass cylinders on them that look identical to the one that you had your creature in. There are only 6 of them, though. There are 7 circles, but there are only 6 of these things. And in one of them is one of these creatures that seems to be acting very sluggishly. In the others, there are presumably dead ones that are, and you can, and of course, there's this god-awful smell that permeates everything.
The smell is familiar.
Yeah, well, sort of, but yeah, there's something even more powerful and stranger in the air that you can't put your finger on. But there's also safety equipment all over. There's fire extinguishers. There's a fire axe. There's things in case there's a lot of computer banks, a lot of equipment that you don't have any idea what it's doing. And by the way, it's all active too. It's not off. It's monitoring stuff.
Right. Okay, so the first thing is we should turn back to back and circle the room and photograph everything, because we don't know what the hell any of this is.
Okay.
Good news is that there's a way for these things to die because they've got these dead ones. Bad news is this is just a handkerchief. Does it seem like the tunnel from P7 was going up slowly?
Well,
Or is
there were
this just-
stairs at the other end of it going up.
I see. I missed that.
To
Okay.
So it seems to be it was just a way to get from that lab in there to this over here.
So we now know Dr. Findley's pet. He's got a black lab. You're right. If I knock on after taking photographs, if I knock on the plexi, does Margaret seem to hear me?
Margaret, do a listen roll.
And I'm not going to knock real hard. It's a rap.
Right.
71 is a fail.
Okay. Yeah, she doesn't seem to hear you.
She's pretty far away based on the size of this warehouse.
Desmond, is the door locked?
The door to the warehouse?
Yeah.
The door going out to where they are is locked, but it's locked from if you were outside trying to get in. Here it's a lock that you can turn.
You can flip it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to look at anything in here before are there fridges in here also?
No.
You said there was machinery that looked like it was designed to fill bottles.
Yes. In fact, there are a few carboys sitting there.
So we're chucking full 5-gallon things?
These looks like they're 2-gallon.
Okay, so he really is planning on moving a lot of this serum. Oh, in fact, it's already packaged for him to ship to his friend. Very good. So I don't need a sample of that because I have one.
If you want to head forward, I'll hurry back to the lab and close that exterior door. Okay.
Do you think we didn't have the sense to lock the door behind us when we snuck in?
No, you probably closed it.
Yeah, I think we would have left that locked behind us.
Okay.
Not that I'm experienced in breaking and entering, mind you.
Right.
I don't, the odds that we're going to guess Findley's password are infinitesimal, and we've been all together inside the compound for maybe half an hour, 40 minutes. So maybe we should grab the lady doctors and get the hell out of here.
Probably you've only been in there 20 minutes.
Well, that's pretty good. And no alarms so far.
No alarms.
I'm going to, of course, take a photograph of that carboy too.
Okay.
That's easier than remembering what I jotted down in the dark. Nothing that looks like a goat. Nothing looks like a goat. Just things that look like tree stumps. But of course, he's lying to these people in Toronto about where he's getting his horrible slime. When I took the sample of the pink glop, did it stink?
Yes.
Okay. Are there no desks in this secret lab?
Oh, well, there are. They're in front of the computers that are facing the window, facing the warehouse.
Are desk drawers involved? Are there pads? Are there?
They're mostly books, text for people to write notes and stuff like that. When you look at them, it looks like they're all sorts of mathematical calculations. Do you have any kind of physics?
Not really my skill. If it was chemistry or biochemistry, it would help. But higher math is not what I did.
Right. This all seems to look like physics.
Right. Which is in keeping with what was seen in Gall's place. So
Right.
I'm going to get as narrow a light on that as I can and photograph a few pages at least.
Okay.
Because that might tell somebody something about the sphere of interest.
Dr. Carlisle.
We can compare those to
Gall stuff.
Galt notebook.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Carlisle, you're up on the wall and you notice a cluster of guards. You can see them between the buildings, and it looks like they're wrapping up for the night. One of them gets into his car and you see him drive out. You see another one drive out. And they seem to be leaving. It's only about 3 o'clock, the most.
Now I'm wondering if they're gonna let the dogs just roam around for the rest of the night, which could be bad. I'm gonna watch them for another minute, make sure there's no other movement, and I'm not gonna radio them, but I'm gonna click the walkie-talkie so they'll hear a click, 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 because I don't want to give away, make a loud noise if I say, "Hey guys,"
Right.
and then wait for them to respond to me.
All right. So you guys hear the click.
What's up?
Looks like the guards actually are packing up and driving away. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm also thinking if the guards are leaving, they might just let the dogs wander. I didn't see them taking dogs with them, right? So they might just...
Although there is a van, so they could have...
Okay.
You don't know, but maybe.
Well, listen, I'm not sure the dogs are going to want to come around this warehouse.
Yeah.
The smell here is terrible. Listen, we found some weird stuff here. It's not quite what I expected to find in a biology lab. We'll fill you in on more details.
Yeah. I'm gonna still keep a lookout for a little while. I'll do the same thing. I'll click in for you guys, then you respond to me, so I don't blow your cover.
All right. Dr. Mills.
Okay, so down here you said there's 4 large circles, but they're on the walls, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Can I reach one of them from the ladder? Or
yes, you can from the ladder.
I'm going to reach up, kind of touch it, see if I can... okay, I see. And those are the 7 things on the outside. Yeah.
It seems to be steel. It's slightly curved, and your guess is that it also retracts.
Yeah, but there's no hinge on this side or
No.
anything. Okay. All right, I'll push. If it doesn't open, I don't see anything else down here, so I'm going to start climbing back up.
Okay. Dr. Evans, do a spot hidden for me.
I missed it by 1, so I'm going to burn a luck point.
Okay, you burn a luck point. You look over, and you can see Dr. Flores and Dr. Liege inside the other room.
I'm going to wave at them, see if they wave back.
Yeah, I don't know. They flip you off. and those of you who are in the control room, you notice Dr. Mills reaching the top and coming out. So it's a pit that she went down into.
All right, well, let's cover this up, Heather, and go. I see a Flores and a Leisure in that room over there. So let's cover this tarp back up and hop.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm going to open the door from our side and say we got some more tree friends and a very bad lab up here.
And as you are pulling the tarp back onto its frame, if you will, the frame all of a sudden begins to retract. It goes like this. It starts to move like a swimming pool cover. Dr. Desmond and Dr. Liege, some of the equipment inside the lab suddenly comes to life, and a klaxon rings out.
Warning. All personnel clear the staging area. Warning. All personnel clear
What the fuck did
staging
they hit?
area.
Go.
Yep.
You see on the screen appears something that says program scheduled, activating, pit cover retracting. And as Dr. Evans and Dr. Mills are moving away from the circle and climbing up over the fence, you see the 7 metal things open, and these pedestals come out of them with these strange glowing yellow crystals on the top. You can hear metal scraping, and you assume it's those holes in the pit. And these retractable sort of mechanical arms come out that have all kinds of tubes and things attached to them. And you guys are now running for the room. You also notice that the shutters all above you on the thing close.
Okay.
All personnel clear the staging area.
And so now you all run into that room. What do you do?
I locked the door behind us.
Okay.
Did Mills and Evans run into the black lab?
Oh, before I did that, I'm going to stop. I'm actually going to take pictures of these crystals and everything.
Okay. If you're standing there taking pictures of the crystals,
It's like
Dr. Liege, you look at the computer screen and it says magnetic resonance at 75%, 80%, 85%. And you look out and you see Dr. Mills standing there taking pictures.
probably.
And I'll try and warn her.
Okay.
Dr. Carlisle.
Get in here.
Dr. Carlisle, you are outside on the wall. As far as you know, all of the guards have left, and you suddenly can hear a hum. And it's a strange sort of resonance, a hum. It's like 7 different notes all being hit at the same time, making a sort of discordant harmony. And you find, oddly enough, that your silver necklace and your wristwatch, you can feel them being tugged towards the building.
I start clicking the radio a little frantically this time.
Okay. All you get is static.
Static.
at this point. So, let's get everybody's position. Dr. Margaret, you're at the door. Dr. Desmond, you're inside. Dr. Lees, you're inside. Dr. Mills, are you taking pictures?
I took my 2 or 3 pictures, and I'm moving toward the door because I heard the franticness in Margaret's voice.
Okay. Dr. Mills, you especially can feel your earrings being tugged, and your necklace, and your pendant, and your ring, all being sort of pulled towards the pit. Like there's this tremendous magnetic force that's being built up. All of you also can feel any kind of metal that you're holding. You can tell that all of these coils have come alive and they're building up some sort of an electrical charge. Dr. Mills, do a luck roll.
Come on, baby. Missed it by 3.
Okay.
Expensive luck.
Use it.
Yeah, you can't use luck. So, as you're now, Dr. Margaret, you still have the door open because you're trying to get Mills to get there. So, Dr. Mills, you are facing Margaret. You're not looking at the pit. Dr. Margaret, you're looking at Heather, but you're also looking over her shoulder at the pit.
Hurry your ass up,
And
Heather.
it seems like all of the light in the room is being dampened over the pit. The air, the light, it seems to be going ultraviolet. As if something were either sucking all of the energy out of the room. Dr. Desmond and Dr. Lees, you also see this.
Dr. Leach, can you hit one of those coils with a crowbar?
I can try.
I would maybe throw it, not use your arm.
Yeah.
Well, before that can happen, you see on the screen magnetic resonance achieved. And there is a tremendous thunderclap of and
Oh,
now it feels like pressure in your head, like 1,000 screams going off for everyone, including Dr. Carlyle out on the wall, who somehow can see through the wall into the room. You even find if you close your eyes, you can still see her writhing in auras of light and thunder and lightning and tentacles and everything. But Dr. Desmond, you stand dumbfounded, amazed that something so incredibly beautiful could possibly appear. All of the rest of you are screaming now. You can all do sanity rolls. You can all do sanity rolls, including Dr. Desmond. See if you pass or fail.
I passed with what would be considered, I think, an extreme success, but that's not a thing. Insanity. I did pretty well.
Yeah, I rolled a 14.
that is a fail.
Fail. 76.
All right, Dr.
It's not a
Margaret.
crit fail, but it's a fail.
So Dr. Margaret's the only one who didn't fail?
I thought Desmond passed.
Yeah, I passed.
Okay. Well, Desmond's going to be special.
Oh.
Dr. Evans, roll a 1d10 sanity.
Cool.
Oh, gosh. Oh, that's an 8. Oh, that's an 8.
All right. The rest of you, roll a 2d10.
Ooh.
Not a D100.
Oh!
Oh, 14.
16.
Oh, haha.
So with 2d10, I only lost 7 sanity.
Get out of here.
We'll get to y'all in a second. So Dr. Desmond,
I assume I fall to my knees to begin with.
Yeah, kinda. You pass. You can keep your wits about you, but you do have this strong urge. You feel that you're looking at the god of nature, that there are 5 elements. There is earth, fire, wind, and water, and life. And she is life. She is the 5th element. And you can also see, you have clarity of thought enough to see that she's trapped inside of a magnetic force field, and that these mechanical arms are coming up, and she's covered in nipples, teats, and that they are extracting the milk of her from, and the machinery behind you is processed and filling the carboys with this liquid.
It's the cruelest factory farm in the universe.
But you're more amazed than anything else. I would like you to do a 1d10 sanity.
Sure.
But it manifests itself differently. You're obsessed.
And it's a 9, so I've taken a little bit.
All right, who took the worst? All right, Dr. Ethan. Go ahead. Oh, I don't have my charts up anymore. Go ahead and roll a 1d8.
A 6.
All right, 6. I think you are going to go into sort of a catatonic stupor. You're just going to stand there, and you're probably grabbing your head and closing your eyes. Who is next down the list?
Do I fall off the ladder, or?
No, I think you're standing there riveted.
Okay.
Dr. Mills.
Yeah, I lost 14.
Go ahead and roll a 1d8.
2.
2. Roll a 1d4.
2.
Okay. You are going to grab the nearest thing that you can and start attacking inanimate objects. So there is a fire axe on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
But before you do that, we'll get to Dr. Margaret. Go ahead and roll 1d8.
5.
Okay, 5. You become hysterical. So you're screaming. You're just screaming.
Yep.
And Dr. Liege. 1d8. You're frozen with fear.
Oh.
Oh, you're moving a little.
Can you hear us?
Brian.
No, hey.
Oh, there you go. I roll a 1d8.
4.
Okay, 4. That was the same as. Yeah, I think that was the same as you, wasn't it, Dr. Ethan?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
The same
So
you got.
you fall to the ground like into a fetal position and catatonic. You can't move or run or anything. So Dr. Mills starts to go ballistic on the equipment around him. He starts smashing it with the axe.
Right.
Do a 1d10
Wait, she-
for damage.
Oh, what was that? Sorry.
1d10 for damage.
Oh, she's out there with the magnetic equipment.
8.
Yeah, that's enough. All right, you smash into one of the coils, and there is a popping electrical sort of discharge, and suddenly all of the screaming in your head gets 10 times louder as you see the magnetic sort of walls disappear,
That's right.
and Shub-Niggurath is suddenly let loose, tentacles reach up and grab struts on the building and start pulling, and she's going to pull the building down around you. I'll let you all do some dodges to get the hell out.
All right.
Even me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, somebody's got to grab Dr. Liege.
Well, I'm screaming and running out of the building like a maniac right now, so.
All right.
Okay. Well, here goes my dodge. Hey, yeah. Made one.
All right. Dr. Desmond?
Yeah, that's a 70 for a 25.
Okay.
But I'm so happy to see her free.
She begins to tear the building apart. The far wall suddenly collapses. You see it fall. I'm going to give you all flight anyway, because one of you is going to grab Dr. Liege and drag him out. The question is, do you go through the tunnel or do you go out into the warehouse and back out again?
Well, I don't know what Heather was going to do, but I told her to get inside. She didn't do it. I'm out through the tunnel.
Yeah, I didn't know there was a tunnel, so I'm going for the door.
All right. Everybody do some. Oh, go ahead, Dr. Ethan.
Am I coming to my senses a little?
You're sort of waking up because the building is sort of being torn apart in front of you, and you see this thing. Now you can see it in full force. You're not even looking at it through the walls. It's making impacts on your brain. This thing.
If I can think at all, I'd want to go for the vehicle and just drive around and smash through the gate and try and get the guys.
That'll take you a while.
Wow. All right. I'm just thinking we need to leave, so.
Also, Ethan, if you could think at all, we're going to be waiting for a ladder, and you to help us.
All right.
Because we don't know what your plan is.
Well, let's just say that you all sort of pull yourselves together, at least enough to run to the ladder. And as you're getting to the ladder, you see that Shub-Nagurath has now grown 10 times in size. She's blown out the top of the building. She's knocked down the walls. She's moving towards Don Biozine itself and crashing into it. And as you guys are climbing over the walls, there is a huge thunderclap of energy that almost knocks you all flat, and she's gone. And fire starts to come up and smoke from the building. And
What the hell just happened?
I'm going over the ladder. I don't care what happened. I'm getting the fuck. This place is a madhouse.
now, I think that what I should say is that somehow, by some means, all managed to get back to your apartment, and you can't really communicate with one another for a couple of hours. You're just wide-eyed and mentally damaged, and I will send you all little things later because you've taken a lot of damage.
Yeah.
We'll say that the whole next day that you can't really get over it.
Yeah.
Room service, lots of tomato juice, religious feelings.
I'll be raiding the mini bar in my room.
But Desmond, you feel sure that the reason you had a different effect was because of that spell that you said. That you were drawing your energy from her. That's where your energy was coming from.
Yeah, and that's life itself. That's what we're sworn to defend. Not that evil corporate cement box full of liars and monsters and thieves.
Ooh.
Mommy.
Yeah. All right.
So we'll say it's now the evening of the second day,
Yeah.
and you guys you don't know what to do. Well, maybe you're starting to figure out some things you need to do, but
So it's Wednesday night now?
yeah. And what you hear in the news is that there was a tremendous explosion at Don Biosime, and the facility was badly damaged. There doesn't seem to be any kind of environmental leak of any kind.
Well, that's good.
Though a lot of people suspect that there was something because there was a terrible, terrible smell all through San Daniel that night. Let's see. Apparently, no lives were lost. And it's very likely that the state of California is going to prosecute Corazzini for neglect in whatever caused the explosion. You also find out that there's a suspect of sabotage involved, but that a Mr. David Melton, 58 years old, was found dead of his own hand in San Damiel, and his suicide note confesses guilt in destroying the building. It looks like a cover-up.
What was that person's name?
David Melton.
Does that ring a bell?
Not to any of you.
Okay.
But his note also is what implicates James Corazzini in a plot to fleece millions from Don Biasone, and from Larson and from New World Industries. So they find a way to blame it all on somebody. And California fines Don Biasime, and New World Industries agrees to a fine of $150,000. And it's all swept under the rug.
Well,
What's next?
And there's nothing in the news about any other manifestations of death, terror, horror, destruction, weird goat creatures. Just all quiet. A couple more earthquakes, maybe. Still hot.
Yeah, still hot. Yeah, still little temblors every once in a while.
hey.
Don Biasime is destroyed. And Slakes contacts you. He's like, what happened?
Where do
They
we?
were doing unstable experiments there. I can't really something with magnets. I mean, my mind.
Highly unstable.
Yeah. Highly unstable. Yeah.
Well, it would seem that our problems with Don Biasime may have been solved, but some of his experiments are still out there.
You don't know the half of it.
Yeah.
I think you need to follow up on Jenny, missing Jenny.
Yeah. We're
And,
planning to look up that tomorrow night, because tomorrow night's new moon. Correct, Dr. Evans?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
they're going to go
I
meet
will
at the
see.
stone. They're going to go meet at the stone.
I will see if I can work it out so that we can get you up to Toronto, and you can look into this Rothmersham. Rothmersham seems to be also partly owned by Larson Pharmaceutical and New World Industries.
Hmm.
So, and you said that they were shipping this substance, and you got a sample of it.
We have.
Excellent.
It's got a lot of photographs of equipment in case we want to recapitulate any of it. I think that most of the fluid was probably destroyed in the fire, as were the remnants of the previous, a previous escapee. I don't think that, this is something that isn't just science. This is something far stranger and more vast.
Well, interestingly, nobody seems to know where Mr. Finley went.
Not terribly surprised. I have an odd feeling it's Toronto.
Well, possibly. I think that his wife has connections in Toronto.
I hear she's a charming woman.
Well, I think I've seen a picture of her once. She's pretty. She's Asian. A lot older than him, I think.
Doesn't seem to be that kind of fellow, from my experience. Can Full Wilderness do any analysis of his finances and see what we can figure out about? Because it doesn't seem like, he had correspondence that was addressed to him at Dawn Biozyme, but I also got the impression that he might be dialing from the side substantially.
Well, we'll have to look into his residence. He lives on the hilltop north of San Damiel. Not too far.
You don't have anything, the authorities haven't been there yet? I would think that he would have been a person of interest immediately after such a strange event.
Yeah, I guess it has been a few days, hasn't it? Yes, he is no longer there. He and his wife seem to have disappeared.
This is a very
sorry.
It's a very disappearing part of California.
Well, there's obviously stuff going on.
There certainly is. There's no word on our escapee from our home lab?
None whatsoever. From what your description is, it doesn't look like it's very easy to keep these things alive. So, very possibly it just died.
Yeah. Hopefully.
I didn't actually say it when we were there, but there were dates on all of those.
The 7 crashes.
And the older they were, the more
fetid they were.
Fetid they were, yeah. It was only most recent.
What number was the missing one of the 7?
It would have been the 7th. Well, it would have been probably the 7th one, yeah. Also, the dates for those creatures do not correspond to the moon in any way. And last night, of course, had nothing to do with the dark of the moon. Although the shutters did close.
Yeah, they appeared to just be a scheduled occurrence. Maybe, I don't know how often they do it. It might even be nightly, or might have been.
It was something the guards were accustomed to, apparently.
Yeah, that's a good point. They left. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, no witnesses.
Yeah, but what was that?
Well, I think it was a god.
God? We're in the science. We know. I mean, yeah.
Yes. Yes, and as soon as you can explain the science of my spell,
Yeah.
Arthur C. Clarke, you know.
Yeah.
But that beautiful thing, it's not from our planet. It's bigger than our little world.
And those pictures you took, they weren't doing biology, they were doing physics.
Interdimensional being, maybe.
All right. And have we heard back from my medieval scholar?
Yeah, we'll do that.
Speaking of which,
he gives you a call. Desmond, how are you doing? Very interesting, the piece that you gave me.
I'm glad that you didn't find it tedious work.
We think, we're not exactly sure, but we think that it is from the 13th century.
Older than I would have guessed.
And that it was written, it seems to correspond to a text that is known as De Vermis Mysteris. The original text is written in Latin, and this was an English translation at the time. The author of this text, it's a very rare book, is Ludwig Prynne. And Ludwig Prynne has a very interesting story.
Well, please go on.
Well, you see, he apparently wrote the piece in 1271, shortly following one of the Crusades, but his date of birth is listed as 1044.
Yeah, so the average lifespan then was maybe 42 years, so
But
he's rather outdone himself.
he was burned at the stake for witchcraft in 1712.
Oh, well, I mean, it must be a lineage, right? Rationally speaking.
Well,
Every
that's what we would rationally, but the claim is that he was immortal or unable to be killed, well, unable to die naturally. That he was a wizard, a witch, whatever you want to call him. The book is considered quite. It's on the index in the Catholic Church. And most of the copies were burned. Very few of them exist.
And do you have an idea of who the deity she is that he refers to in that passage?
He talks a lot about nature spirit. He gives it the name, it looks like Shaba-Naguroth.
Yes, that sounds right.
There are also a number of bits that, now I have been told this, I have not actually perused this book. I believe there is a single copy in the Bibliothèque Nationale de Paris, and there's possibly another one at the Miskatonic University in Boston. However, they're restricted. They're extremely rare. I forget what I was going to say. I am getting old. I'm an old professor.
And Miskatonic's in Arkham.
That is correct. Yes, indeed. Not too far from Boston.
Not so far. So it's curious that I came across a mechanical facsimile of some book that is so rare and valuable. There aren't facsimile editions, right?
Not that I know of, no.
Yeah. So someone either photographed it and had that copied. It's very curious.
Well, if that's the case, they would have. Well, now they're talking about an English translation. The language, the English spelling of most of the words in the syntax is probably 13th century English. But I don't know who made an English translation of it. The original is in Latin.
Mm-hmm. And Ludwig Prynne, his own language was German?
I think, yes. I think with Prynne, the last name, yeah, German. German, he probably, well, he obviously spoke Latin as well.
Right. Well, I appreciate your time very much. That's quite interesting stuff.
Well, it's very interesting. But one of my colleagues says to be careful. These kind of books carry a certain kind of mental weight with them. They are not to be read lightly.
Do you know, Doctor, I have a greater appreciation for that idea than I used to.
Oh?
Information is, I think that language is very powerful.
Well, you know, there is an old concept that that certain sounds create vibrations in the air, and that they unlock doorways.
Yes, that tradition might have a lot of truth in it.
Anyways, if there's anything else I can help you with, I would be glad to do so. It's always nice talking to you, Desmond.
I appreciate your assistance very much, and I'll share what you've told me with my colleagues here. Take care.
Good night. Click.
Huh.
Well,
Share.
Yeah. Interesting.
so this guy wrote about this nature spirit goddess who's mentioned in our spell.
There is a similar, there's a similar phonetic in the spell than there is in this text, this later English text, or this otherwise unrelated English text about a she god who sees through everything. What are we gonna take to the stone to meet Jenny?
I don't know.
What do you bring?
Axe. Yeah.
If they bring that thing back to here from wherever it came from, what do we do? I mean, they darken the room, but they're gonna go dance around a stone. Heather and I, there was a stone down in that pit, and they're gonna go when it's the darkest around the stone. Who knows what they're gonna do? What they're gonna bring here? What do you do against that?
Or why would you be against it? I mean, if they stole, perhaps the reason that Jenny's been unsuccessful is because the stone that she's supposed to dance around was stolen. And that's what was trapped in that horrible lab and tortured and manipulated by those sick Western science greed monsters.
But the Sasquatch Watch said that there was still a stone out there.
Maybe there was a stone under the stone. I mean, I don't know how you... Dr. Mills, you said it was like obsidian or something. It was hard and cool.
It was, yeah.
But she didn't stay that way. She was just trapped that way. It's like, she was frozen, except instead of by magnets.
Right, but that substance, whatever that substance, you think that's what caused Jenny to grow so much? Was contact with it?
Well, they're manipulating the excretions of a goddess for, we know now, antipsychotic medication and antidepressive medication. But Findlay admitted some human studies for other conditions. And maybe there's also a growth component. Maybe they were breaking it down in that lab into various substances. Something more powerful. It's like the food of the gods, and they're, it's like cocaine, where they take this leaf that people use for tens of thousands of years peacefully, and then you give it to white men, and they cook it down until it's a tiny white powder that just makes you an insane asshole for 2 minutes. Like, if the whole milk were there, maybe it would be a totally different thing, and maybe you can make one thing out of it or another thing out of it. I'm speculating.
Whatever, it doesn't matter now. He's got to make sure that people don't stop doing that. whether you believe that that thing shouldn't be anywhere near anybody, or if you believe that it's a majestic creature or whatever, you don't want them abusing it. We can't let these people reset this up.
No, she does not belong in a lab. No. She might not even belong on this planet.
Dr. Evans, Dr. Lee, do an idea roll.
62 is good. Just a regular.
Brian?
Where was that? You cut out.
Oh, do an idea roll.
Fail.
Okay. Dr. Evans, you've all sort of been suffering a little bit of flashbacks, you know, that sort of thing that comes to your mind. Dr. Evans, there's something, when Dr. Desmond starts talking about it as if it's beautiful, there's something in your mind that reminds you of why you thought that it was so incredibly hideous. And that was, in addition to tentacles and eyeballs and mouths and giant teats, there were little monsters all attached, all around it, that those things that are in the containers are things that fell off of her.
The screams.
They're babies or whatever.
Oh my.
At
I
this
remember,
point,
I remember now. The little one we had in our lab. There were tons of them. Swarms of them just crawling all over her. Or it, or whatever it is. That's where they come from.
You know how dairy farms work, right? You don't give the mother goat her child. You take the child away and kill it, and then you steal the milk.
stop. I get up and I walk away. I can't hear. No. And I just walk and slam the bathroom door. Put the water on. I turn the shower on.
You're right, Dr. Flores. Look, they got taken away from their mother and they died. They're just trying to get more milk sources, but they don't survive away from their.
And I hope not, because they don't belong here. I don't want that thing to go, murdering everything in its path, destroying ecosystems. But it's not its fault. It was torn off of its or from its mother's tit.
I agree with you. But what? I mean, it's horrible. The whole thing, what they were doing was horrible. So
what they were doing was horrible. Hopefully we can release
what they did to Jenny was horrible. Inadvertently or not.
Yeah, and what Jenny did to herself, yeah.
The phone rings.
This is Dr. Evans.
Dr. Evans, this is Lieutenant Paul Jackson. We spoke the other day.
Oh, yes.
You were looking for Noelle Rand.
Yes, that is correct.
Well, I just got a call from the Sheriff's Department in Squamish County. They, in turn, received this phone call from a Mr. Charles Cartwright. He's a man living alone in the mountains a few miles distant from Renuncion. And he found a crushed vehicle in a ravine about 100 feet below a dusty Forest Service road.
Don't tell me Noelle was in it.
Well, that's just the thing. She wasn't. It seems to be her car. It's unburnt. It's got the same make and model as her car, and the license plate matches. I am going to be heading over there tomorrow to take a look. I thought since you were also interested in this whole Satan worshiping thing and seeing if we can find out what's behind it, you might like to accompany us, or me.
Yes, that would be great. They definitely need to be stopped. So yes, I'll see how many of my associates are interested in joining me, but I definitely will.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow then.
Yes, thank you for your service.
And that's, I think, where we'll end it for the evening. That's a good cliffhanger, what would you think? All right. Our players included Morgan Llewellyn, Brian Daly, Keith Craig, Jason Melnichuk, and David Gassaway, with yours truly as Keeper of the Secrets. We're currently producing up to 5 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. The costs involved with the show are provided almost entirely by our patrons. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. If you'd like to support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 a month helps us a lot. You can find a link in the description below. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel and punch that bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.